Hello, lovelies. And I am here today with the lovely Laura. This side of me. This side of me. Okay. How are you?
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. I was comfy on the couch with Roy, and so I had to move him. But now he's back in his rightful place on the bed.
Ah, yes. I saw you were on late last night with Sky. Have you gotten any sleep?
Yeah.
This much? Maybe
Uh,
this much?
I don't know. 7 hours?
Oh, well, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all. Yes. Hello, lovelies. I'm Mama Maggie Ward, independent author, stroke survivor, migraine overcomer. I have a significant series out. Relic of Time War is a 14-book series that will be ending this year. The next book is coming out on June 1st. I also have the Pagosa Cliff series. Set in the fictional town of Pagosa Cliffs, Colorado. You can have Pagosa Stars, which is about the sheriff's department, or you can have Pagosa Cliffs Anemones, which is about the Wild Anemone Bakery. And then we have Laura Nettles, Hoot the Lovely Tiny Shivers, and many, many horror things that have been published. And working on, you want to tell us what you're working on that we all can't wait for? Vampires and demons and mafia and ooh.
Crimson Strings is a 90s vampire romance in a fantastical version of Earth. And the main characters, the main love interests are born vampires, not turned vampires. And the shenanigans that ensue as Hadrian tries to save his mother. Victor is the son of a mafia boss, and his ex is actually the literal Satan from when he was a general in his army. So, yeah, very, very fun. And for me, not for my characters, they go through a lot of pain and suffering. Yeah. Draft one is done. I have feedback and it's ready ish. It's ready to go into draft two. Mentally, I'm not ready for draft two yet. So, yeah. That's one of my story whips.
Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait for it because yes, I have tiny shivers and I love it very much. And so yes.
Thank you.
All right. So this is Breaking the Block. We are a rotating group of independent authors who pretty much we troubleshoot with each other. We talk about to each other about what is going on with your whip, where are you stuck at, can we help you get through it. Today we have a lot of people visiting in the chat, some of our fellow co-hosts and our lovely founder. Hello, writer Sam Wicker. She is taking some personal time and we are more than happy to support her because we love Sam.
Yes, we do.
Hello, Cat Paw. I hope you are having a good breakfast. Hello, Sky. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see. Where am I? Where? Come on. Don't. No. Okay. So, how does it I'm just going to jump in. I am also at a revising phase, the last book of Relic of Time Wars and the last book of Pagosa Cliffs. Um how hard is it to be stuck in that phase?
uh, so I was revising my middle grade horror, Seeds of Doubt, for 2.5 years. It got through 11 drafts and it still wasn't good enough for literary agents, apparently. So, yeah, it's a tough thing because there's no definitive yes you're done with revising, like hit publish now. You always have that in your back of your mind, like it could be better, or like have I made a mistake. and what still needs fixing. Or if it's like a collection or something, it's like, what else do I need to add to it? What should I take away from it? What is it in its final form of what story should be in it? And so it is never ending, it feels like, until basically you get so sick of your own story and you've worked on it so long that you hit publish. So, yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to put it in the chat.
Let's see. What have I revised? Drabbles and stuff are easy to revise for me because they're 100 words. So I basically write the first draft, edit it, edit again, all right there in the same sitting. So it'll go from initial spark to finished draft within like an hour or two. So
I envy that so much.
That's why I love drabbles.
Because like your things are 100 words, mine are 100,000 words. And I hack them down to 80, and then I build them back up again to flesh out the B plots, the characters, the A plot. And it's I've basically, except for Daisy the Werecow and Spartan and Cat Lady, I have been doing nothing but revising and editing for like 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and you're like, oh, that's a long time to be doing something. Yes, it is, because I'm working on these on 2 massive series.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's killing me, because I'm like, I just want to write. I just want to get back to writing. I am so sick of going over and over and over again. And understand, because of my brain damage, I've literally been, since the first year that I wrote these stories in late 2015 through 2016 for Relic of Time Wars, 2016, 2017 is when I started Pagosa Cliffs. I was doing a 500,000 wordy a year for like 5 years. And now I have and now it seems like I can't get back to writing unless I designate a month for myself for writing. I can't get back to writing because I am doing so much revising, and it just seems like it's never going to end. And I can see the end. I can see the end because I have 1 more Anemones book to publish, 1 more Pagosa Stars, 2 more Pagosa Stars books to publish. And I have 2 more Relic of Time Wars books to publish. No. And I actually have 1 and a 3rd Relic of Time Wars book that is the interim from the end of the war to the last book. It's that century interim that happens because some of the shadows escape into the time stream, and they've won the war, but now they have to go back and make sure the war stays won. So I have all of the scenes from the fights with the shadows through the entire 14-book series. But now I have to rewrite them as fresh, because one group moved through the series in a linear direction, and the other group is hopping back. And now the group that's hopping, I have to have their version of what is going on. And it's that one is the most intimidating. I think it's more intimidating than the big end of the war book, because this book has to match the entire rest of the series, but also be brand new.
Right.
And so revising it's like, I took a week off this week. My husband and I, we didn't get to do anything for his birthday is December 27th. My birthday is January 1st. We usually go off for us time, like for around our birthdays, it's a thing, we share our birthdays through New Year's Eve. And this year we didn't because we had the family in town. The kids from the Navy were here, daughter and her hubby, and so we didn't do anything. So we went and we took a week in the real Pagosa Cliffs, which is Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Very lovely place. Everyone should go there. And so I didn't do any writing for a whole week. I didn't do editing, any revising. And it's like now I'm like, oh, I want to write new things. And there's this thing going, you have a schedule. So it's yeah. Cat Paw says it sounds relatable. Hello, Eva. Welcome. Eva says to Sam Wicker, take care of you. Eva answers the question, revisions. For me, this process of edits and revisions, that means the book is done. To admit I can finish something, that's tough. Yes. We have our nearly the best part is he was born late in the day on his birthday, and I was born early in the day on my birthday. So except for Mercury and the moon phase, our astrological charts are identical. So if you know anyone who's really into astrology, they will like, these two people should not be able to get along. They should drive each other crazy. They should not be married for 26 years. So yeah, yeah, it sounds like a fun bit for a romance story. Meeting at New Year's Eve, both celebrating the birthday string. Yeah. One in December, one in January, both with their own quips about how being at the end and the beginning of the year, baby, is the best. No, it's not the best, Eva. It's the worst. Having
share your glory.
Having those Christmas, New Year's birthdays. Everyone, you get the Christmas birthday combination present, first of all. Happy Christmas birthday. And two, having a New Year's Day birthday meant all of the parents in the neighborhood forced their children to come to my house for my birthday party. None of them wanted to be there. It's just their parents were too hungover and didn't want to deal with them. So, yeah. Easy to see Evie's answer. Yeah, finishing is hard. Nature versus nurture. So true. Sky says, I tend to hit points in the story where I realize something's not working with the stories, and I go back and revise before I've even finished. Same.
Yes.
Same. Yeah, rewriting mid-story. There have been a few that I have written them out and then revised afterwards, but because of the way my brain damage works and stuff like that, and I sleep and I forget, I have to go back and reread what I worked on yesterday. And sometimes I have to go back and reread the whole thing up to the point where I'm continuing. And if I didn't leave myself notes, this is where we're going, I'm buggered. I'll just say it flatly. I've had birthday twins I get along with, like a house on fire, and ones that I've had nothing to say to at all. I know equally long story couple born a day apart. Sky says, I have yet to complete a full draft of the current project, but I've started over multiple times.
I have that with my sci-fi. It's a duology. I got about 22,000 words into draft 1. Had an epiphany for the super cool twist, and then had to start over. And yeah, I lost steam. So,
well,
part of the problem was I realized I wasn't an experienced enough writer yet to be able to tackle sci-fi. Because I was trying to write an intense assassination scene, and I literally wrote pew pew pew, all three fell down. I was like, okay, we got to put a pin in this. Come back to it later.
Okay, well, let's just take that into question 2. What is keeping you from finishing a draft? Like finishing the draft, finish then revising? And what is the point that you keep starting over at? How do you find that point that you keep starting over at? And by the way, I love pew pew pew.
I love onomatopoeia, and that's the one I went to because it was sci-fi. I was like, no, this is supposed to be intense.
Okay. Revising before I finished. Okay. And when I hit the point where I'm just nitpicking small things, I'm done revising. Sky says, I have a yet to complete a draft. Okay, that's where we are. Ha ha ha. All right. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. I'm trying to make sure we don't miss anything. Question 2 is this is something that I think we all struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this tendency that I will end up, by the time I finish a draft, because my muse goes, look at that, and off we go into the flower field. Oh, look at all the flower ideas. And I'm chasing her with the butterfly net, and sometimes I can wrangle her back onto the plot path, and sometimes I cannot. So I end up redrafting the plot for the end of the book. And sometimes I will end up with like 5 different versions of the ending of a book just because my muse is so EDT. So, yeah. Cat Paw says, not knowing what's happening next, the discovery got stuck.
Had that.
Eva says, I finished drafts when I finish them quickly, but they are rough. Revising is the rewrite phase for me. Sky says, we have 6 months of birthdays and holidays before we have next to nothing for another 6. October, the husband, baby, Halloween, November, oldest baby, December, Christmas, January, anniversary, February for the youngest. Yeah, so you have all the winter. You have all the winter babies. See, my family, we have a November birthday. We have a poop ton of December birthdays, not just us, but all of like many in our extended family, plus Christmas, plus New Year's. Then after New Year's, there is nothing until March. And then we have a whole bunch of birthdays in March, like 5, and 3 birthdays in April. I think the only person's birthday in February is my husband's stepbrother. And then, I mean, it's like, so we have like winter birthdays and then all the spring birthdays. And then we have one friend who her birthday's in September. She's the odd one out. Yeah. It's funny. But no, my problem is my muse goes off, and then I'm like, and then I'll like be going over the draft, revising the draft, and I'll realize that I have a B plot that I need to thread in, or something. I'll have and this is me being the sci-fi fantasy writer and having this resentment against Star Trek for the pop-up solution. Because that is Star Trek is the worst about, oh, we figured out a new science. No, you didn't. Q changing the gravitational coefficient of the universe to save one planet from its moon falling out of orbit. The repercussions of that on the universe as a whole, I'm just saying. I mean, even if he only did it for a few minutes, long enough to pull the moon back out to a stable orbit, which that also would not work, by the way. Just fun fact. Did you know that not only are our planets orbiting our star and our moons are orbiting our planet, which are orbiting our star, but also our star is traveling through space at so fast on the plane of the ecliptic within do, do you know how many vectors of acceleration you would have to adjust to alter something's orbit like that? Okay, I'm done. Math brain is disengaging now. But no, but that is something that like sci-fi and fantasy writers constantly deal with, and that's how you end up with these super OP characters that I'm a witch, vampire, werewolf, demon, angel, unicorn, granddaughter of a goddess characters. And look, there is nothing I cannot do when I'm stressed. Oh, but I'm going to almost die here for a moment. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. I'm fine. It's fine to write weakness into your characters. Let them be weak. In
They're
Relic of Time,
clumsy.
in Relic of Time War, Daisy uses math to do magic because she's an energy physicist. So she uses math to do magic because she was never taught magic until she became an Etherean. And then she's like, I don't understand. Let me think. Let me do the math. And she does the math in her brain for magic. And then like she'll push it to the last decimal place, and then she goes, and now I'm gonna faint. Flop. So it's fine to write weakness in your characters.
Yeah. So what keeps me from finishing drafts are I get stuck in the middle of like a chase scene and I get bored of the like how long the chase scene is extending on the page. And it's like, okay, like can I just skip to when they're home, but I can't I have to write linearly. I can't skip scenes, and it's like, well, if I'm bored writing it, they're surely bored reading it. And so maybe just scrap the whole thing for now. Um or like coming up against my pew 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 issue and realizing I might not be as strong of a writer as I need to be yet for this project. And so pinning it. Or
But that's how you learn. That's how you learn in writing, though, is when you get this thing and you're like, yeah, I need to do some research.
well, like, okay, the chase scene takes place in a near future California. And so I was doing all this research on mapping out caves, cave systems, and stuff like that, and watching on YouTube people like spelunking in these caves and stuff, so I could see what they were like. And so, like, I had done the research, but it's like, can the chase just be done already? But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I get stuck because I need to switch from, like, I need to get distance between myself and the draft before I go into revision. And so it's like, how much distance is enough distance to be clear headed enough to be like, okay, this part needs to be cut, this part needs to be completely redone, and stuff like that. And so
See, I
that's why
think that's
draft 2
why
is on pause.
I think that's why I'm such a genre slut, is because if I'm writing in one genre, like, and I have this very specific world build, I can't write something adjacent or the worlds start bleeding together. And so it's like I've got several story seeds that are sci-fi fantasies that I actually started when I was writing the Ghost With series. And I found that the concepting of my ancient aliens and they were actually returning to Earth after like 25,000 years, 12,000 years, 25 to 12,000. The elevated stone society before the Younger Dryas event, which was, they now believe, was a multiple impact event that destroyed the ice sheets. So, fun fact, the Celestials helped us end the Ice Age. But we still don't know why the Ice Age started so suddenly. They're blaming the volcanoes now. So, yeah. But yeah, it's a struggle. It is a real struggle of, I don't have enough knowledge to write this book. Kappa says, I don't write in order, so there are gaps where something needs to happen, and I'm not clear what. I've written the end. I write the ends. I write the like second to last chapter, like when I'm doing the drafting. I also write the deaths of all the characters, including the main characters. I don't use them all, but I still slaughter everyone. Sky says, I think this changes with each current project. I keep realizing I need to back up in the story and start sooner.
I have that problem too.
And how I'm doing a lot of discovery of the characters' motivations and behaviors. Yeah. That's how I ended up with a 4-book prequel called The Huntsman of Adamos to the Relic of Time Wars.
So one way that I have been discovering character motivations and behaviors for one of my whips is journaling as them. So like I put their family tree in because it's important to them. And then I have been journaling as the character. So that's been fun.
That sounds amazing.
I've been doing that for what is it called? My Halloween romance. So yeah.
See, the thing that I do is I don't journal as my characters, but I interview my characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll share the link to the Google Doc that I created when I was doing the whip chat things. Eva says, my motivations are changing with my writing. They've changed before and they're changing again. Is this my publishing goal? Which grad? Maybe I want to apply for a fellowship instead. Which project I work on changes the answer. I need to settle on one so I can finish a draft.
I think she froze. You're back. Yay.
Are we back? Are we back?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, my internet just went beep. No. Cat Paw says, I also have a habit of writing in my head, especially at night. Then somehow think it's been written already and get pissed when I can't find it. I do that. I will think I've written something and search everywhere for a handwritten copy or a typed in copy or an audio recording of a copy, because I do all of those to store for my drain bramage. And I won't be able to find it. And I'm like, I know this existed. I know that I wrote this. I remember and then it's like, then I end up rewriting it. And sometimes it's like, I can't remember what I wrote or thought I wrote. And then I have to recreate it. But yes, I've done this. You think you've got it written, and it's. Eva says, Laura, have you considered co-authorship? Draft with pew pew pew, they fall down, keep going. Then the co-author can fill in, maybe. Like Rachel and Dawn do.
I have considered it. I actually reached out to somebody, and we were going to do one together, and then everything fell apart. So, yeah, it hasn't felt like actually come to fruition yet. Welcome back, Roy.
Oh, and it looks like Shannon has made it in. Hello, Shannon. How are you very much? Thank you for hitting the like button. Sky says, every time someone mentions doing a family tree, it makes me want to write a family saga where different duologies, trilogies follow various family members. Yeah. Same. Okay, Eva's going into lurking mode. Cat Paw says, one thing that I love about A Place Called Here is how she skipped all the fillers and transitional scenes and just left the essential ones. It's such a wild and refreshing read.
Nice.
So
I think another thing that keeps me from finishing a draft is, like you, my muse just goes on to a different story, and it's like, dang it. My ADHD is like, let's get another story. Let's start another story. Let's start another story. It's like, oh my gosh, is that it?
I can't say anything. I am always chasing shiny projects.
Mm-hmm. So I have a bajillion that haven't started chapter 1. And I have some that have gotten through like chapter 10. Oh, sorry. And yeah, so it's just really hard.
Yeah, well, let's make that crazy thing. As creatives, we're always chasing shiny projects. I have, what was it? My last count was I have almost 200 project seeds, almost 200 story seeds. And a lot of them come with like world building and character interviews. And some of them are just a short story with like notes underneath. When I like, there's a lot of them that I did when I was doing Flash Fiction Saturdays with Nat and Chandra.
Mm-hmm.
I got so many in there, but there are others that have just popped up out of the blue. I've had to start in my Bujo tracking things that give me story ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's like, well, where did that idea come from? Well, I can actually tell you because I documented it. But it's how do we stay on track? I have OCD goal brain. So once I get focused on a project, my brain is like, finish the project. It turns into the what was it, the squadron leader from Star Wars? Stay on target, stay on targets. That's my brain.
Yep. My
But
brain is the opposite. It's like ping, 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 ping. We'll get back to that one eventually.
yeah, or you go back to a seed and you're like, what did I write? Why did I write this? This sounds interesting. I never finished this. No, I can't do this right now. Kat says, last Sunday, my muse piped up that I was to drop a story that's been on the back burner for years. In the wait, I reached the point where I can write it, and I'm oddly okay with that. It was such an intimidating, sprawling epic.
Mm.
Yeah, but how I mean, there's so many things. Everybody talks about Notion. Everybody loves Notion. I don't dare get on Notion because I know my brain and I would want to just fidget and play with all of the different little baubles and doodads and color coding. And that's also why I don't get on Storygraph, is because I know that I would spend more time actually playing with the little things parts of it than doing the writing. And so I tend to be like a paper than to digital kind of a thing. But it's sometimes it's hard. There's stories that I had to walk away from, like the third book in the Revelation Night trilogy. I like walked away from that series for like 3 years because the pandy hit. I had other projects I was working on. I was trying to finish during 2020 through like 2023. I was 2022, mid 2023. I was focused on finishing my open series because at one point I had 6 open series, multiple book series.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to force myself, like keeping a very, very detailed Kanban board, which I still have writing projects, editing projects, publishing projects. Everything is organized. Everything gets moved over as it progresses. I have dates on all of my little stickies that get moved over as they get moved over. Plus, it gets written in the Bujo. I've got, let me see, where's January? See, this, I have publishing plans all the way through, writing plans, editing plans, all the way through on one page, publishing plans, all the way through on the other page.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have to be, and this is, I actually wrote this when I started this one. This is my 2024. So 2024 and 2025, I plan together. And that works for me. And because I'm one of those plan oriented, goal oriented people. But I know that the vast majority of people would run from that system as fast as they could, because it can be very stressing when you get behind. And I've really had to learn how to like just forgive myself for not making goals because of health issues.
Right.
Sky says, I keep notes on various story ideas in Notion. When I have an idea hit me, I have to write enough to get the idea out of my head. Then I can return to my current project. I do this too. I get one page for the story seed, one page or 1,000 words, and then I have to go back to what I'm doing. Or it goes off the rail, and I end up what I did in my early writer career, where I had 6 or 7 open projects in series, and I was so overwhelmed that I didn't know what to write next.
Yeah. I have physical journals that I keep lists of my stories in. I have trackers for what stage each of the story is in. I have Milanote, the software website thing that I use instead of Notion. And I basically have all my pen names in there, what projects go for which pen name, and develop my stories in there. And yeah, so I keep track of what books I can use as comp titles, and what I like from each of those books, what I would improve on each of those books. if I were to write them, and so I can take that and incorporate it into what I am writing for that pen name. So, yep. Sometimes I just need to have a sticky note with like 10 stories on them, mostly short stories, and take my ADHD med and then just start knocking them out.
See, I sat down a couple years in a row. I sat down for Preptember and Preptober and fleshed out a whole bunch of story seeds. Till now, I've got 20 story seeds that are literally ready to start writing. And if I need to roll a die to pick a story seed, and I've actually done that for Spartan Chimera was one that I rolled the die for. How to Become a Crazy Cat Lady to Survive the Zompocalypse was one I rolled a die for. Daisy the Werecow is one that I took from 3 short stories in the Etta Tingle Indie House Halloween anthologies, and I rolled the die, and that was the story I got, and I wrote that into a novel. But and that kind of forces creativity, I guess. But it's so easy to let the muse just run. Cat Paw says, I don't plan or set goals anymore between CFS and PDA. They make sure that things happened when there are spoons. Yeah. Sky says, that's certainly one way to do it, Laura. Cat Paw says, see, if I do that kind of prep, I'm too bored to actually sit down and write the story. Like I've already written it.
Mm.
Yeah. So is that a feeling? If you do too much preparing and role building, that's not a feeling that I have. But do you feel that when you're writing? Because I know Sky has said that I know Sky has said in a stream when we were talking that sometimes she feels like she's already written the story if she does too much writing, planning, world building.
I don't get that feeling, but I also mostly pants. Like for short stories and flashes and stuff, sometimes I'll just pull up a painting and stare at it and then write. Sometimes for my longer stories, I will write a bullet point outline, completely veer off, keep pantsing, write another bullet point outline for the rest of the story, completely veer off, and I'll have multiple alternate outlines, and none of them fit what actually comes out. I kind of write to surprise myself. So I don't like formulas because it's very like pattern driven. And so my brain is like, well, I know the pattern. I know the Dark Night of the Soul is coming. And sometimes it does not feel earned. And it's like, ugh. So I like to take different turns in my story so that it's always keeping you on your toes.
So you keep it so that you're not focused on the plot. Does that help you or make you struggle with your revision process?
So right now with Crimson Strings, I know that in the revision I'm going to have to alter part of the middle because the character gets damseled too many times in a row. It's like, because I didn't want him to get saved too easily. And so, like, it's like almost saved, and then like another attempt, and then finally they're out. But that dragged the pacing a bit on his side of the story because it's dual POV. And so it's like, well, I guess we can get you out sooner. But yeah. Like it is plot that's zigging and zagging. It's like villains showing up where they weren't expected. It's magic having unexpected consequences, but I can foreshadow them. And so it's really fun. Just going off the rails and just doing it. But then you get stuck on being like, how do I get this character through this door? Because I don't want it to be too easy.
They gotta climb out the window
to the big evil mafia lair. Like, there's gotta be some type of trap.
I know you were saying that you're like, they're just getting kidnapped too many times.
Yeah. So I also take a lot of inspiration from fan fiction, and fan fiction does not follow the beat sheet.
No.
So, yeah.
I think that's why I had so many rewrites to do, revisions, which grew and grew and grew and grew, the Relic of Time War series, because it started as 2 30,000 word fan fictions. And then I had to backfill in the world. And then I had to backfill in these characters. And then I had to go forward. And then I had to put then I had to have events happening between the big events that and things had to make sense. And this had to move forward. And, why is this character this way? Why is he tweaky, paranoid, and always got plan B, C, D? Why is he always about plan B? That had to be explained. And why does this other character, he's addicted to coffee and he hates monkeys. Why does he hate monkeys? He gets mad and he calls people a stupid monkey. And it's like, why do you do that? And it's like, because he went to Thailand when he was a child and he was attacked by monkeys at one of the temples. Now he hates monkeys. That's why he makes dinosaurs, because dinosaurs are better than primates. Primates suck. So yeah. Cat Paw says if I do that kind of prep, I get bored to actually sit down and write the story. Understand that. Sky and her assessment gave me the idea for the next question. How do you pick your next project? How do you keep interest in a story seed that's been prepared but not planted or started?
Wherever the muse takes me, usually. But now it's also, what is my goal? If my goal is to make money, I should be working on shorter projects that I can self-publish. And so, like, I was all ready to go on my Halloween romance. And then that night, I had a dream that I talked to an author tuber friend about writing romance shorts. And, like, I talked about my income stats of what I make off of writing horror short stories and stuff and selling them. And it's like, is not much. Like, I need an income. And so the next day I woke up and I actually talked to her and I was like, is this legit? And yeah, so I've kind of pivoted to those kind of projects for this month in the hopes to make income sooner.
Yeah, I feel that right now, because it's like I've gone from making just over $1,000 a year writer income to making about $150 a year. And I'm still publishing, and I still have this huge backlog, and I still have sales. But yeah, it is a struggle bus, and I don't know what to do or where to go. I don't know what the answer is. Catpaw says either pick one that's in the queue or whatever feels most exciting at the time. Sky says D&D, the door is never just a door.
Exactly.
Sky's answer to the question is along with my interest assessment, I want to go through and do a status assessment, see where I am with the story and how close to publication it is. And that affects my project as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel that there's things that literally, if I stop the push to finish, to just get these 2 damn series goddamn done, because I've been writing on them for 8 years.
Uh-huh.
I have things that I could probably have ready to publish in 60 to 90 days. Other things. And then I have things that I completely need to start to write. Of course, the August ADK is my favorite writing month because yes, so many words. I'm a glutton for punishment though. And I will completely admit that 2/3 of the time when I'm doing the August 80K, I don't get my 80,000 words. I try really hard, but most of the time I barely break 60. So yeah, I may be starting that thing where you do 100,000 words a quarter.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, the half mil wordies are fun, but oh, it's ugly. Oh, the writings are ugly. Oh, the words are ugly. The stories are ugly. The grammar is ugly. The spelling is te-e instead of the.
See, I'm such a glutton for sharing what I write as I write it that I need my first drafts to sound pretty. So I draft very cleanly so that they are worthy of posting snippets. So it's like, it's like the prose is pretty, but like, is the plot as nailed down as it should be? I'm not sure.
It's hard. It's hard to figure out where you're going to go, what you're going to do, how you're going to get things through. And it's like, that's literally why I rolled the dice, because I need a way to figure out what I am working on, and just and having the universe tell me what to write helps.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I am pulling my links down.
It's all good.
Yeah, thank you, Cat Paw. Thank you. Just get the may I feel that, and stares metaphorically over the shoulder at the Seeds to the Wind series. But what I really need is to get a stable income. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like I applied to 19 jobs on Saturday. Friday, Saturday, whatever. And so, like, I need a job for the stability of the income, and then I will write on the side and get all that stuff done. because I will feel more secure and less stressed because I know I have money coming in. Because I'm not married to somebody who's employed. I'm not married at all.
Yeah, literally, if well, with my medical issues, I can't work, and so the taking care of the house and the kids and the animals and the hubby, it is a struggle for us. And
You
I'm one
spoil
of
them
these.
with good food, man.
I pinch every penny until it turns into dime. It was like we went, okay, so we went to Pagosa. We stayed at my brother's timeshare. Um, and so he owed me several favors, and so I called in the favors. I went a week in Pagosa at your timeshare. So the vacation was basically free. We bought $100 worth of groceries, which turned into 9 meals.
Nice.
So, and like, because here in Colorado, I mean, if you eat fast food for two people in Colorado, it's like $25.
Yep.
And if you go to a restaurant, that's 50 minimum,
Yeah.
more like 80 to 100. So, yeah, we ate basically our grocery budget for the week, and you stayed for free. And the only thing that it cost us was basically the gas to get there and back,
Mm-hmm.
beyond the normal realm of what we would spend. So, yeah, pinch that penny. But it's the business of authoring that I know so many authors right now that are just they're done. They're some of them aren't even finishing publishing their series, and they're like, I'm just leave them up there. If they sell, they sell. If they don't, they don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sky says, by the time I finish a story, the prose won't be pretty, but the plot should be pretty tight. It took me a bit to get to that point, and my earlier work doesn't reflect that, but that's where I am now. Yeah, it's that author life is hard, and it's expensive. What it Shannon, who was here earlier, if you go to SD Hessman's channel and she's got a series on her on publishing the Clash of the Goddesses trilogy, where she talks about how much everything is costing versus how much she's making. And by the time she got all 3 books done and the sales and everything accounted for, she was still like $4,000 in debt.
Mm-hmm.
And
With the change tactics.
that is a big that's a big thing to carry.
Yeah.
I mean, last year I sold 502 books. But here's the thing. 390 of those were free books that I gave away.
Yeah.
And the rest of them were, and I had very few full price sales. Everything else was when I was doing the 99-cent sales. And in the when they would have the big Kindle sale things,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing like the 99-cent sales, I would do those. And on the free Stuff Your Kindle days, I would do those the weekends, like the sci-fi and sci-fantasy and fantasy Stuff Your Kindles. I would throw the Relic of Time Wars up. For the romance ones, I threw Pagosa Cliffs up. And so, I have almost 400 books that went out that I just gave away. So while my numbers look really good on how much actually went, how many books did you sell, give away? The numbers look good, but the problem is the income, like from the sales, was $150. The actual income.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, where does that leave authors, when we're struggling on these platforms? And now we have these companies that are saying, we're going to publish 8,000, use AI to publish 8,000 books a year. So that it's times are getting interesting for authors, and it's, how are those of us that are trying to endure, we're all looking for other income streams. Cat Paw says, I've only sold 3 so far this year, and 2 were $1 with no revenue to me at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm looking at KDP right now. Last year, I sold 299, of which all of them were ebooks. This year so far, I've sold 1 book, and it was a print. So it's like, well.
Let me see. Let's see. This month, I've had 8 Kindle pages read.
I've had 5 pages read this month.
And so, yeah. So far this year, I've made $49.16 across 40 books.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of that is because I had hardcovers come out for a bunch of previous books.
Mm-hmm.
And people have bought hardcovers. Last year, my total income for last year, and I am being completely open with everybody, $148.82. And then I sold 3 books through Ko-fi last year. So that's where I get $150. Because once I print the book, pay the shipping, and get the book sent out, I only make 50 cents. And then last year I had a total number of books that went out was 508, but nearly 400 of those were free books.
A lot of my sales of Tiny Shivers, the ebook, was in October when I was in some promos, and I had it free for a bit.
Yeah. It's hard. It is hard to make an income, and everybody's like, well, do this marketing thing or do this, and that doesn't always work. There's always somebody and with a better marketing plan, and I get emails to my author account and messages on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter X, on Blue Sky all the time about, we saw your book, let us market it. And it's like, yeah, I have no budget for marketing. I'm a disabled person with brain damage who does not qualify for disability. So no marketing budget. And like, there's some of them that I've started saying, if you can prove to me that I can make 100 sales at full price in a 1 month period of time, I will consider buying your program.
Mm-hmm.
Buying into your program. because a lot of the marketing stuff, like a lot of the marketing groups that they try to get you into, it really doesn't help authors. It's the Stuff Your Kindle events get more traffic than paying a marketing account to share your book to their 100,000 followers. And
Yep.
like Facebook, the Facebook ads are $50 a month. And $50 a month, well, that's 75 book sales to break even.
Yep.
So, it's, as authors, we need to think about, like you said, you need to think about what to write to make sales, because you need the income.
Yep. It's like you got to cover costs up front for editors and like formatters or whatever if you're hiring other people. So it's not like everything is starting at zero. You're starting in the hole, trying to build your way up if you're hiring help. And you're just in the hole deeper and deeper.
Yeah. And that's something that I think all of us on AuthorTube, all of us that are indie authors, are facing, is how big do we dig the hole?
Yep.
Cat Paw says, like what I say to people, but you can write it off as an expense. Do you know how many books I need to sell to pay for that? Yeah. That right there is the question, especially with Amazon taking more shares, with printing cost going up. If you, let's say you do a, like me, I'm putting, the entire Pagosa Eclipse series is now in hardcover. I am pricing those between $14.99 and $15.99 each. Between the printing cost is $10 to $11. Once I sell the book, I make $1 or less per book. Someone who was like, well, why don't you put your book at $9.99? They have a minimum price that you can set your book. And if you set your books at the absolute minimum price that Amazon will let you set them at, you make 10 cents per book. And there's Amazon is now doing a thing where they will not let you price like your ebooks. You're no longer allowed to just set your ebooks at 99 cents or $1.99. I have a couple of ebooks that are set at $1.99, and I don't dare do anything with them, because once I start updating, if I try to update like my author page or something, because you have to, you go into the first part of the author page for the title and the book and all that. You go to the content page, you upload your copy with and I would just be changing the author page to have all of my latest books printed on it.
Yeah.
And then you go to the pricing page, because you have to go through all 3 steps or it won't resubmit your new copy. And you get to that last page and you hit submit, and it'll give you a little red star, and a little red thing, exclamation point with a circle around it, and it says you need to adjust your ebook price. And so because of their system now, you have to increase your prices. So if you have older books at the lower prices, don't tweak them, because they make you increase the prices. But it's really, I know they have to make money doing business. Ingram Spark is this way. Barnes and Noble is this way. Everybody is increasing their minimum price of their books available. And the more their prices increase, the less the authors make,
Mm-hmm.
which is another thing that we have to consider, especially authors that are going wide,
Yeah.
is how much are you putting on all of, yeah. And and it's work. It is work because I probably spend 60 hours a week doing authory things. And well, let's see. Where's my calculator? Find the handy dandy calculator. Okay, here's the calculator. Let's say I spend 60 hours a week and take 2 weeks off a year. So that's 50 hours. That's 3,000 hours a year that I'm working. And clear it. And we made $149 last year divided by 3,000 hours. I make 5 cents an hour working as an author. Because I don't quite make that, because I make 0.04962 ever.
Yeah,
So I make 5 cents.
Yeah, I made $15.86 last year on selling books on Amazon. So not even enough to pay for the editor that I had for my romance short.
Yeah. Sky says, I made less than $8 in 2024. I've made more this year thanks to my recent releases than I have in 10 years combined, because I can't afford to market outside free social media, basically. But I only have ebooks. I need to fix that. Yeah.
If I had the money, I would get Atticus so I could format stuff myself and make it really cool. Because right now I have to use Readsy for their free book formatting publishing software thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only 3 options on what it can look like. But it's free. So I use that for all my romance shorts.
Yeah. I have Word, Microsoft Word. I pay the membership. I have the family one so that I can share it with the middle who does my editing. So we share a Word account, Microsoft Word. But it's $11 a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's $11 a month. But my husband uses it when he has to do things for work. My daughter uses it. My middle uses it when she's editing, and then I use it for my writing. But we get none of that money back. I mean, and it's so different from 2018 and 2019 when I was making 10 times more than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it hates using Word for formatting. I'm constantly having to tweak my formatting. I use Calibri which is a free program, and I throw them $10 through their Ko-fi link a year. They've got Ko-fi and Patreon. It's a free program for formatting, and but I have to do so much tweaking on the Amazon back. And well, you've seen me do the rants about literally having to go through every single page because Amazon hates when I'm uploading.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The work of author life is hard.
Yes.
All right, we have been going for an hour and 15 minutes. Does anyone else have any questions or
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of. Okay, well, let's add this back to the stage and we'll say goodbye.
Bye.